Welcome to Beyond the Games, your daily insight into Guernsey 2023. Proudly sponsored by SG Kleinwort Hambros Bank Limited, Guernsey branch and Jersey branch.
14 sports, 24 islands, 1,200 volunteers, 3,000 competitors and officials. Behind it all is a small team being led by Guernsey 2023 Director Julia Bowditch. So how do you create an Island Games? Appreciate your time. It's going to be a busy period at the moment as well. I just wonder if you could reflect back a little bit about the Island Games, when it started for you in terms of your role, because obviously the COVID disruption's been thrown in there as well.
Yeah, so it started in 2019. So I started just before the Gibraltar Games. So I got to, because previously I hadn't been to a game since the 2003 one in Guernsey. So in 2019, I started just before that. So we got to see the games. And when we went to Gibraltar, we had to have information ready for them as to what events we were holding, give them information about how they get to Guernsey. So it was just starting that communication off with the member islands.
And obviously we've had quite a long journey since then, so how does it feel to see it coming together finally?
I don't know, I almost won another 2 years, but now we're getting there. It's with 50 days to go. It's getting really excited. All the sports, the amount of work that all the sports coordinators have done. So just want to make sure that everything goes as smoothly as possible for when they're on island, and that we can do all those kind of little added extras that kind of make the kind of Guernsey experience for the member islands.
And what is it about the Guernsey Games that you're particularly looking forward to?
I don't know, someone else asked me that, and I said, I don't know, I was a bit flippant. I said when it was over, and then you can then reflect, because normally I've worked on a lot of events and I don't actually enjoy it while I'm doing it, but actually when you look back a week later and you think, oh wow, that was actually brilliant, and I learned a lot, and stuff like that. So sometimes when you're in the thick of it, it's difficult to enjoy, but once you look back and kind of think, actually it was a great games, and that was touchwood really successful, and the athletes enjoyed it, and it was beneficial as well to Guernsey, then I think that's probably the time I enjoy it, because I'm normally saying, oh, I'm never working on another event again, and then a month later I sign up for something else.
And I think in terms of the games, some of the logistics behind it, I'd be quite keen just to hear your sort of take on how it's all come together.
Yeah, the logistics, the scale of it is actually, for the size of the team that's working on it, and that's why we kind of got to thank all our volunteers, because we've got volunteers in the office now non-stop supporting us all the way through. But the logistics are really massive when you think of it's only a team of 3 staff members supplemented by 1,200 volunteers. It's just so, just kind of, if you compare it to, say, some of the larger games like the Commonwealth, like in terms of the numbers of athletes and people arriving in Guernsey, it's not like that massive a difference in terms of numbers, and also in terms of, getting all the accreditations. There's not a team of 20 people just working in accreditation to deliver that for the games. There's just volunteers doing that, and it's all that kind of level of detail, and just working out the number of medal ceremonies, the number of medals, the number of flags we need. It's all kind of that information, and then just making sure that Guernsey's got enough hire cars and stuff like that. So it's all the kind of additional things that we kind of have to look at and work. It's even things like the amount of sheets in the hotels that we need. So it's really kind of the level of detail that we're kind of working across, supported by everyone, is kind of really quite immense.
Because there's equipment coming to the island as well, isn't there? Like quite a lot of equipment just to get this going as well.
Yeah, and we're quite lucky. Like Jersey's been really supportive of us as well, so we're using a lot of their rake seating. So they bought a lot of stuff for when they hosted the games in 2015, and we're borrowing stuff from them. We also get stuff from the last Island Games, so we get all the flags and everything from them, and then we pass that all on to Orkney. There's loads of equipment. There's flooring coming in. There's barriers coming in. We've got a lot of stuff in storage. Ferry Speed and Condor have been really helpful in supporting us by providing storage and providing freight for us. So there's so much stuff coming in and being held. It was even just getting the uniform out for 2,000 volunteers. It's kind of a little project in itself, and then we've got all the welcome bags, SIM cards for every athlete. So it's kind of everything like that. And again, things like working with Shaw and putting the high-speed broadband and in at every venue as well. So that would be a bit of a legacy for the game. So it's just trying to make everything as smooth as possible for everyone.
Because those technical innovations are quite exciting as well in terms of like people off island being able to follow the games in a new, fresh way, kind of.
Yeah, we're trying to learn where possible. So while we're not streaming everything, but where possible, we can make sure the results are kind of live and scrolling for people. So you can still, while you might not be able to kind of see them compete, you may be able to see how they're doing at that time. So it's all those kind of innovations. And even in the 2 years from the delay, we've managed, there's been so much progression in this kind of online innovations and how to share information with people throughout the world that that's something that we've managed to probably achieve more of. So we're looking at quite a few sports being live streamed, and some of the shooting sports, their results equipment can feed directly to our website, so you can see the kind of straight away the results as well, and things like badminton, tennis, table tennis, those are all kind of being live streamed, as well as swimming and athletics, and we're streaming some of the football matches as well. So as much, that's kind of a really enjoyable thing that we're looking to kind of build as well. We've got kind of a great volunteer team supporting us there as well, and it would be really interesting to see kind of those stats that we can pass on to Orkney and see kind of how that develops, because I think we did a kind of a count up of all the member islands. There's about I think there's about 1 million people like in each of the across all the islands. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see the kind of the reach that we get during the week of the games.
I mean, that can only help in terms of the games have always been seen as like building friendships as well as the sporting side of it. So you can only imagine that's going to help build that as well.
Yeah, I really hope so. So that you can if you know someone in the half marathon, you can see where they are, how they're doing and stuff like that. And sometimes like that is even. You'll be online, you'll be able to kind of know the information, because sometimes when you're watching a marathon or a triathlon and it's a looped event, you don't actually know where your competitor is unless you've got really great knowledge. And that's kind of what we're working with, making sure our website, so you can track that while you watch it as well.
And I think it's also exciting to see some of the closed roads events happening as well. That's a new, I mean, we see that in events in the UK and around the world, but for Guernsey that's I think that's a really good thing to see, like with the cycling and the triathlon.
Yeah, we are really excited about that, and we appreciate that it's going to cause a bit of disruption to people, but we're working really hard to make sure that we minimise that disruption and we open the roads as soon as possible. Again, that's quite a logistical task. I think we've got about between 80 and 90 junctions that we're staffing or like volunteers will be looking at. But again, as soon as we can open those roads, we'll be opening those roads, and again, more information is going out about that. But I think that it kind of goes to show how professional the games are now, because you can't have athletes competing on open roads. I think Gary Warbridge, the cycling coordinator, always uses this analogy. He always says you wouldn't have a swimming race in a pool while people are doing laps while that people are trying to race. So it is really important. And again, even in 2003, there were cyclists overtaking buses, so you have to decide whether you want to win by overtaking a bus on a corner. That's unfortunately things have changed a lot, and we want to make sure it's a safe event for everyone.
And I think it shows about the standard of the games and how that's grown from those origins in 1985, wasn't it? And you think where the games has got to in terms of participants and the number of islands taking part as well.
Yeah, it even goes to show some of the ex-competitors that have taken part as well in the games, and also kind of appreciate that for some people that this is their pinnacle of their sporting career. So you've got to kind of do everything possible to make sure it's a fair and it's the best race it can possibly be.
And I think that's one of the really exciting things about the games is that you've got some of the younger competitors that are coming through. They're being mixed with people that are more experienced, passing on their stories, and then we're now seeing families that have taking part, so fathers and sons and mothers and daughters and all that kind of stuff.
There was a really nice story in Gibraltar. I've never speaking to a lady, and she from one island. She met her husband at an island games, and then I think it was their son was competing in Gibraltar. So yeah, I thought that was really nice. And there's also, in the bowls, I think we've got an 85-year-old and a 15-year-old competing. So yeah, like you said, the age range and just is really interesting. And I think some people with the delay, have like really pushed it to try and still be at their peak for 2 years, and some people that weren't there have like kind of so it's been that kind of really healthy rivalry between like the seniors and the juniors, which I think will only kind of mean it's a better event.
And I think like this 2-year cycle as well is also really good for the sports, like, and especially for some of those sports that don't get the exposure day to day. They've got a big event to aim for, and that's such an important part for the games to play.
Yeah, it is really, there's because there's no kind of like marquee sport. They're all 14 sports that are kind of equally invested and put all the work in, so it is a really great opportunity to kind of showcase different sports as well, so that everyone can kind of have a look. And that's one of the benefits of all the events being free of charge. So if you've never seen bowls, or you've never seen table tennis, or air shooting or anything like that, you've got the opportunity to go and just have a look and think, oh, actually, it's pretty interesting. Maybe I'd like to sign up, or again, just to see kind of elite athletes cycle past your house. So you've got the opportunity to just kind of wave your flags. And one thing we're really keen on is, to try and show your support not only for the Guernsey athletes, but for all the athletes from the other islands, if you've got any connections with them as well, so you can show your support for them for the week of the games.
Opening ceremony as well, always an important part of the games. What's planned there?
Yeah, so the opening ceremony is similar to, I don't want to give too many spoilers away, but it's similar to 2003. So it's all along the front in town. So it's more of a parade as opposed to a ceremony, because we know Guernsey is really good at doing parades. We've got all local performers as well, so it's free of charge for everyone to come down. We're looking at it being as close as possible to after work, so you can come down. There'll be plenty of performers happening before the teams come in. So yeah, we're really excited about, but there'll be a bit more kind of information coming out about that. But yeah, it is similar to like a Liberation Day kind of parade. So when we kind of got the feedback from all the athletes, they said they don't really love all the speeches and stuff like that. They really like enjoy the marches, and they really want to kind of get supported and get the feel. It's kind of their first feeling, and it's a really good kind of tone. I think that's a really key thing for us, because the actual logistics of the opening ceremony are really massive, because then we've got to get 3,000 people down there and then get 3,000 people out of there. One thing we're really keen on is to try, we don't want it to go too late, because there'll be people competing the next day, but we want to make sure that kind of everyone gets excited and gets to and from their accommodation without too much waiting.
And in terms of building that sort of buzz around the games as well, we've seen Jet the Puffin in the schools, all around the community. Like, how's that gone down?
It's gone really well. Yeah, we've not been surprised, but Jet's been really, really, really well received from everyone, and it's great. We've started our merchandise selling, so I saw someone meeting Jet with a Jet the Puffin t-shirt on, so that was the first time I saw that. So we've got our merchandise out now as well. So it's kind of we're really, really pleased for the support that we've had. We've gone to all the primary schools, and we've got some resources for the schools that we've also shared that with all the member islands as well, so they've got that as well. So they're also doing lessons in their schools as well. So yeah, it's been really great. And I think we're really lucky in that we are the first island to host it 3 times, and so many people remember 2003 so fondly. So we have been kind of lucky with that, so it's less of a sell for us. So people, I remember in 2003 it was such a great event. So yeah, I think as we get closer and closer, and even like on the weekend we had our volunteer training, we had a photo of that. I think we had over 800 volunteers all in one place, and it was such a good atmosphere, and it was really nice. And it's probably the only time that we'll get everyone all in one place, definitely before the games. So the atmosphere is really going, and we're really excited. Even the turnout for the volunteer program, like we've had probably had over 2,000 applications to get to like 1,200 volunteers. But we had to close that early just because, we reached the saturation point of what we could deliver it. So we have been, Guernsey's been really amazing with its support of us.
And there's also an important part of the games in terms of outreach into the community. So seeing like the education packages alongside of it at work in the schools as well. Can you take me through that a little bit?
Yes, so we've been working with the Health Improvement Commission and the Sports Sports Commission as well, and they've been kind of delivering stuff within the schools regarding kind of pathways for competitors as well, and the kind of the legacy of the games that we hope to leave kind of an active legacy on Ireland, and people knowing kind of pathways back into sport as well after seeing, because you want to inspire people and actually think, oh, I'd like to just have a go at that as well. So we've been working with the Health Improvement Commission and the Sports Commission as well as to how that is going to be delivered. And again, obviously we're working in terms of getting everyone to the events as well. So the buses will be free for that week of the games. So we're trying to make it as inclusive as possible for everyone.
And there's also been the cultural side of it as well, the arts, Guernsey Arts.
Yeah, so Guernsey Arts have been doing a great thing. There's been poetry competitions, there's been drawing competitions for postcards as well. So yeah, we've had a really good feedback. So we wanted to get something from every member island, and I know they've had over 100 entries in the poetry competition, and we're also putting an exhibition on at Candy Gardens as well for the week of the games to look at some of the heritage of the games as well in Guernsey, and a lot of that's from Owen Lavalley's personal collection. So yeah, it's just also to showcase the work of kind of the people that actually founded the games. It's just kind of, I think it was just like a conversation at one of the Commonwealth Games with all the smaller islands, thinking actually, you know, we love the Commonwealth Games, but it'd be good to have another level so we can kind of feed into that as well. So yeah, kind of the story of the games and a lot of the merchandise and a lot of the tracksuits and stuff like that. So there's some quite vintage stuff there as well.
What for you would be your sort of ideal legacy from the games when you get to finally reflect back on it?
Yeah, I would like to see a kind of legacy. Firstly, that the event goes well and that you know, positively received by the athletes. I think that's probably would be our first kind of priority, delivering the games, to make sure it's like an athletes focused games. So that would be probably our first legacy, but also to make sure that we leave kind of an impact in Guernsey in terms of uptake in sport as well, and inspiring people that you don't need to be a elite athlete, you know, just inspiring people to kind of have a go and stuff like that, and also showing, hopefully with the schools programs, encouraging kind of children to get active.
Beyond the Games, proudly sponsored by SG Kleinwort Hambros Bank Limited, Guernsey branch and Jersey branch.